everyone, it's Catherine here from Inky Finger Cat. I've got a scrapbook process video, and I wanted to play along with the One Sketch 3 Ways challenge that my lovely friends Helen, Sarah and Jackie have got as a Facebook group, and they've all done videos on previously. I joined in it with the last month, but I only posted the video a couple of weeks ago, and then I'm very late in getting around to doing this one because I believe that the next sketch goes up today for this month, so so I'm a bit late, but never mind, better late than never. So I totally and utterly changed the sketch in terms of the photos because I don't have events where I have as many photos, plus it is a double page sketch that they've chosen. But again, they do say just interpret it your own way, so it's not really an issue. So the way I do this is you'll have seen at the beginning, I took a piece of just scrap paper and I just sort of blocked out what are the key elements of this sketch so that I could just simplify it a little bit in my head first. And that allowed me to come up with the idea of using these 3 papers, and just sort of like having the block of the very heavily patterned paper at the top and the bottom, the 2 thinner strips going across the page, and then that panel underneath the multi-picture that I've got there of the sort of 4 different views of Pennington Flash. One of the papers has got these fab watercoloured like circles, so I cut quite a few of them out, and they were my embellishment type cluster bases for the top left and the bottom right, which is how there's sort of like a little image on the original page maps sketch. That's what I've used for mine because I don't really do little cutesy animals on my projects very often at all. You'll see I do a lot of fiddling to get these straight, but I eventually sort of get them straight and lined up. You'll also see that my ATG had broken, so yeah, great. I think it's just run out of tape and it needs to be replaced. But I'd already had in my head that I wanted to do some stitching because the sort of circular element that's on the sketch on the left hand side has got what looks like some sort of like dotted lines that look like they could be stitching suggested there. So I thought, yep, I'm going to do sewing. So I did all of this section first, just loosely tacked down my elements for the base and then stuck together the photos and their mounts, but didn't stick them onto the page. And I did all this before I went out with my daughter, so we're about to have a little bit of a break in my creativeness because when I come back, what you'll find is I've done a load of sewing. So went out, came back, did the sewing all with my sewing machine, which I did off camera because I can't get a good angle to be able to film that, and to be honest, you do not want to see me struggling with a sewing machine. So you can see here I did loads of sewing. So I did a sewing, a pink zigzag across the 2 green elements, strips going across. I did light blue all the way around the outside. I did some free motion-y, circle-y sewing for the circles, and I also did a little bit on those on the photograph mounts too. So loads of sewing, loads of scraggly ends and wonky sewing, as my mother would say. She would not be happy with the quality of my sewing. She's a neat freak when it comes to her sewing. And I'm just adding a little bit of the distress ink, using the packaging method to smoosh it in. We're using, I think it was Tattered Rose and Tumbled Glass. I just thought they went with, and it just sort of softened that white bit in the middle. I don't know if it needed it, but it just looked a little bit straight, and then it didn't make sense to be all straight when I got all that wonky sewing going on. So at this point I am adhering things down. I did put a little bit of foam just underneath the tops of both photographs just to lift them up a little bit, but they're almost on an angle because they're flat at the bottom to the page. And then I have glued all of those circles down. Now it is time to think about my title. So this takes a bit of fiddling because I don't have huge, well, I have huge amounts of letters sets. They're all sorted into colour now because I did that a few months ago, but there's not very many full sets, and trying to find ones that go with. In the end, I'm not entirely sure they'd go brilliantly, but they go okay. I've got these chipboard letters that I've had for donkey's years, and there was the right letters to be able to spell out flash. So the reason it's the Flash is because I'm at somewhere called Pennington Flash, and it's like a big nature reserve for birds. They do sailing there, and it's just down the road. We've never been. I've lived in this area, apart from 5 years of my life, so I've lived in this area for 41 years. I'd never been, and it's literally about 15 minutes down the road from where we live. So it was a really lovely walk. We did a big long circular route, some of which was sort of like lakeside for what this flash is. In the Wigan area, there's a load of things called flashes, but they're just big reservoir or lakes, I think they are. I probably should read the sign and find out what they were. Anyway, big circular walk, and some of it was through fields, some of it was a little bit brambly, which wasn't great because we were wearing shorts, but never mind. And yeah, we just had a really nice time. Probably took us just over about an hour and a half, I think, probably to walk around, maybe about that. And then we went and treated ourselves to a nice lunch at a garden centre down the road from there. Which we do go to a lot. So again, it's just really bizarre. We've never been to Pennington before. Definitely going to go again at some point. So, Flash was my title, and now I'm grabbing my 2 Bramble Box Club kits that I've had so far. I didn't end up using anything from the second box. I did contemplate one of the cut aparts, but no, decided to just go ahead and use the seagulls from the first box that I had from a couple of months ago, a camera, and a couple of cut apart bits that I thought made sense. And then there was one of those circular things that I've got like a little dome top. I think they're called flare, but I could be wrong. Anyway, one of the circular ones, it got a boat in it, which was perfect because the picture of the lake, you can't really see on the camera here, I don't think. But the pictures from the lake, there was loads of boats out doing sailing little things. Whatever you do in sailboats, not my kind of thing, so I don't know. Then I've gone and grabbed my old Lollipop Box Club kit stash, and I'm just going through it, trying to find little stickers that make sense for this particular day, anything that I wanted to add. And again, I do the same with the embellishments. So I've got a box off to the side that I'm just grabbing bits and pieces out of and just adding them in as and when I think that they look right, and then sometimes they go all over the page and then they come back off again. Oh, I love this little tab thing. It was just a little bit too deep for what I wanted because I didn't want to cover up the sew-in that was at the top of that photo. But yeah, that little green tab is really fun. What else do I add in? I add in... Oh, right, so on the little sketch, there are some like a little banner that comes in, and then there's a little tab. And I did this tab and then I didn't like how it looked. So I do end up taking that off, which slightly damages the banner. But I then grab an embellishment again from old Lollipop Box Club kits. I grab something that's going to go over the top of that. It isn't the one that's there at the moment. There's another circular piece. But I do end up using that circular piece somewhere else on the page. What I've realised as I'm videoing this is I forgot to take pictures after I'd done my journaling. I did my journaling after I've taken the pictures, and I've realised I've not included that in here. But yeah, I did add a couple of bits and pieces of journaling, which I just popped underneath where the cluster is for the title, just about the fact that we had a lovely walk around Pennington Flash, but I completely and utterly forgot to do that. I wrote down that it was Pennington Flash Lee at the bottom on that little circle, but yeah, didn't do anything else. So, oh yes, I decided it needed a the for the Flash, and I looked through and I just couldn't find a suitably sized the, so I ended up with some letter stamps, but there's no way on earth I can stamp these straight so that it's easy to cut out in one place, one way. So I do end up doing really fiddly, having to just trim these down to size. it would definitely be quicker and easier to just use your scissors, but I wanted it to be straighter and I don't know why, just did. So yeah, so this took a bit of fiddling to get the 3 letters so that they were nice and straight, but yeah, it needed the Flash to be the title rather than just Flash. I think this is me done, yeah. So, as I say, I've not taken the pictures after I've done the journaling, but I added that in later. But I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you liked my interpretation of the sketch. I'll pop in the picture of the sketch. Yeah, I'll have already done that by the time you've seen this, because I'll edit this back to go and find that element where I was doing the drawing out to add in the sketch for you to see what the original looked like. So enough waffling from me. There's another couple of photographs, but I hope you enjoyed. Please do give me a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more. And until next time, goodbye.